Nimrion, the survivors of Ashcaleen.
Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. It has been a minute since we did our last session. I am your friendly dungeon master at Mr.DanDyDM. I am joined by our players. We have, starting at the top with Matt.
Hello, I'm Matt, also known as War Torn Knight out there on the interwebs. You can find me mostly on Hive Social these days. I'm getting pressured to do TikTok things, so that might happen in the future.
Is Hive paying for a plug on this episode?
If they are, they didn't let me know. So, yeah, War Torn Knight out on all the socials. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Next, we have Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. You can find me at Virus05 on TikTok, where I do a lot of D&D content. And thanks for joining us, and thanks for having us back. And yay!
Oh, yeah. Awesome. And, of course, down at the bottom, we have Victor.
Hello, everybody. Victor _ the Story Weaver for those on the TikToks. And I'm playing Ivar, now the Forsaken. And I'm very excited to get back on this. So.
Yes,
I forgot to say I'm playing Jalhordin.
Just a quick recap, though. What was Ivar before last episode?
Ivar the Banisher.
So, just a quick recap for everyone who's sort of catching up with us right now. Our, we'll call them survivors of the downfall of the capital of Nimrion, the city of Ashcaleen. Our intrepid adventurers left the city in flames on a yacht, which also might be a smuggling vessel. We're not entirely sure about that just yet. But they left with a bride-to-be that they ended up rescuing from the onslaught of a rapacious vampire. And we set sail on the high seas out into safety, only to be, as of last session, nearly taken by a terrible band of Charybdis marauders, a vicious pirate group, who are led by their pirate queen, Zophie Wolfsbane. After dispatching the majority of the crew, the adventurers ended up allowing the pirate ship to drift away with the remainder of that pirate crew, while still retaining in captivity Queen Zophie Wolfsbane, the captain of the Charybdis Marauders. 3 days have passed since the events that transpired that brought Zophie Wolfsbane under captivity with you all. As you have made your way skillfully, for the most part, trying your best to maintain a decent heading east towards what you know to be the direction where Suristir is, as your goal or part-time goal at this point is to hopefully return Rihanna back to her home in Brecca. Using the charts that you discovered in the captain's cabin, you are able to ascertain sort of the best direction based off of, positions of the stars in the sky and other diagrams that you have laid out for you. As you begin to move, you start to notice that you're encountering some choppy weather. Definitely, as you get further out into the deep ocean, the ocean has a mind of its own, and it is not altogether the most pleasant of voyages for you all. Currently, I need one of you to decide who is doing their best to helm the ship at this moment.
Okay.
Everybody shakes their head no. It's like,
okay.
Nice try, DM.
Yanshu is the captain of this ship.
Yeah.
Yanshu wants no part of that shit.
The last time that I touched that helm, we got jumped by pirates. So,
Well, actually, no. If you think about it, you guys were the ones who jumped the pirates.
well, yes, but they tried. They started.
Yeah, fair.
To quote our generation, they fucked around and found out.
Oh yes.
They did.
They very, very much did. If you would like, Yanshu can totally do his best to take the helm.
I'll do
After you would like to, okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Nesca is going to do it. Okay, Nesca, give me a. I believe we were using for you. We were using an intelligence check for your piloting skills. So yeah, why don't you give me a roll?
Welcome back, guys.
Make it a good one. Make it a good one.
No.
Roll bad
Natural
enough.
one.
Roll.
You wrote on
so
that one.
I vote. I
This
vote
is-
that makes
this is-
us. I vote that makes the yacht go completely turn around, and we end up at the other ship that we left behind.
No.
For
Wait a
total
minute, this
five.
looks like Ashcaleen.
So given now Nesca is familiar with boats. She's used boats to get in and around the coasts down in the southern part of the Nimrion continent. But this is a different kind of boat, and it's a lot different in terms of the open water that you currently are traversing right now. Given your level of inexperience, it's kind of difficult. The waves are exceedingly choppy at this point. You're going down into the trough and up into the peak and down, and it is enough where I need every single one of you to give me a Constitution saving throw.
There it is.
Oh, 14.
Are you kidding me?
That is
The
a
dice.
9.
The dice teased me with a 16, and then he just flipped to 6.
Natural
So
20.
Oh,
Hey.
Well,
okay.
the agile Yoanti, of course.
Yeah.
Really quick, just because it sounds like things are going to happen. This is after the time skip, yes?
This is yes. This is after the time skip. Yes.
So I'm going to click that long rest button. Thank all of the ones who
Oh
are
yes,
holy.
thank you. All of you who have incurred damage up until this point, you're back to full health. We'll see how long that stays. So
Not very long when I rolled a 9.
With that, not one.
okay, so
Uh,
with seasickness, those of you who are unaccustomed to sea life, that would be Jal and Ivar, I believe.
14? Yeah. Okay.
No, actually, Ivar, you would be accustomed, given your where you're from originally.
Yeah.
So nat 20, you rolled a 9. Actually, you okay. Of the people who rolled, Yanshu rolled a 14. Zophie rolled a 2, and so you like occasionally as you guys are passing the padlocked door, like hatch to go into the lower deck, you hear the retching sound of someone just puking up just as they're sort of like out of the gunwale of the boat. Just of the rest of you though, Jal, you feel the most discomfort, but you're not full on seasick. It's just like, oh boy, I don't know how much more of this up and down. Nesca, what is going on? And I don't feel so hot.
Jal is strategically staying away from Rihanna so that he doesn't have to hear her throwing up, because it will probably make him throw up at this point.
Rihanna rolled a 17. She's fine. She's
Oh
just
wait,
like,
who was that? Who was I hearing was retching?
The captain,
Sophie.
Sophie.
the cat Zophie Wolfsbane.
Zophie. Yeah, that's. I apologize. Yeah, that's who I am staying away from. Nope, don't want to listen to that.
Speaking of, Rihanna is currently has been keeping to herself for the most part, maintaining just. She's very pleasant with everyone, but she's still shaking off all of the trauma that she went through is trying to escape Ashcaleen. It's also during this time, Jal, since you sort of have just gotten to know her just in passing, just very small conversations here and there, that she's shared with you what brought her to Ashcaleen to begin with, and just a little bit in more detail about the events. And the fact that where there was at one time she was promised to another, and then that person disappeared. And eventually her father found an alliance with another merchant family in Ashcaleen, who you saw viciously disemboweled by the vampire that you encountered on the docks at Ashcaleen. She was supposed to return back to Suristir at some point after their holdings had been secured in Ashcaleen, but who knows now, as Ashkaleen's place in the world is very uncertain. So throwing off the feeling of seasickness, Nesca, despite not being able to handle as well as you would like this larger ship, you still are able to keep a decent heading, based off of where you need to go. At this point, what is Ivar doing?
Funny that you ask. Because I will say that Ivar has been for the past 3 days very, very recluse, very quiet, and mostly spending his time having conversations, if not interrogations, with Sophie. And not the pleasant kind sort of questions and interrogation, but rather a very firm hand with a lot of arguments and debates related to faith, belief, her origins. He would have spent the majority of these 3 days barely speaking to the party members, if addressed, maybe answering very monosyllabic, and mostly spending his time down below deck with Sophie.
Got it. Okay. So I'm gonna have you roll a check.
Okay.
And we'll say for the sake of, based off of what you're saying, I would like for it to be an intimidation.
Sure.
And I will roll an opposed check. And depending on how you do, you'll be able to ask 3 questions of her.
I will also point out that during those 3 days, taking advantage of those days going in and out, he probably would have not played, but sort of test her resolve and sincerity by asking questions, and when doubting, casting Zone of Truth on her.
Oh. Throw up Zone of Truth for me in the Discord really quick.
Sure.
It's like one of the cheat codes to D&D, that spell. But I love it because it's also an automatic it's also like an automatic character development card, because you can't hide anything.
And that's sort of the reasoning behind it too, is he would ask first. Sure. And he would inquire first. Okay. And then he would cast the Zone of Truth, because that's his way of sort of laying judgment about whether or not she is actually open and ready to cleanse herself from the resistance of truth.
So, what is your spell save DC? Because it is a charisma saving throw. So what is your spell save DC?
15.
Got it. Okay. This first question will be the one that you use Zone of Truth on. And then depending on how you roll your intimidation check, you will get 2 more questions. I will say this. She got an 11. So you know that she failed her saving throw. So you know that the answer to the first question, at least, is definitely true.
Okay. Ivor is going to be sitting facing her.
She just is vomiting. Just like she sees you giving her like this vicious stare down. Your eyes just completely like dead and just looking at her. She is like keeping an eye on you, but also just like vomiting, just her insides.
Yeah. Yeah, and you will see that Ivar has like no response to it either, coming from the lower slums of the faiths and the areas of the beggars and the wanderers. None of it makes him flinch. So, Wolfsbane, tell me, what is your greatest fear?
Just more vomit coming out, and just eventually she sort of just gets a grip on herself. And in this moment, as a captain of a pirate crew, you always have to be afraid of all sorts of betrayals and mutinies. It's a constant fear of mine that I just wake up with a knife at my throat. My first mate betrayed me. Why? What do you fear the most?
I am the one asking the questions. And he takes out the needle, the poison needle that she had, and just holds it in his hand, just fidgeting with it.
Okay. All right.
You speak of fear of betrayal, treachery, and yet now you have no crew that could betray you. Only yourself.
There's a moment of silence as she sort of pauses. You can see her just sort of like taking this brief respite from retching just to think about a lot of things you see, emotions flickering across her face. Well, you see, what was your name again? Fearsome warrior.
Ivar.
Well, here's the thing, Ivar. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've had a bit of a rough go the last... And she like briefly pauses. The last 3 months. I had a much nicer ship than this one. I mean, this is a load of rot is what this is. And I'll be 100% honest with you. I was honestly very recently betrayed by my crew, and I just happened upon this other... We were offshore of this one particular island up north, and it was an island we heard was, they were populated by some gnolls, and there was supposedly a treasure that they were hiding there, or there was a tale of some sort of passageway that was leading to some other world. And I'll be honest, the tales intrigued me, but as we approached the island, I got the distinct impression that my crew was ready to maroon me on this island, and I decided to... She gestures at the poison needle down in your hand. I decided to take some initiative, and I began to slowly do away with certain members of my crew. And unfortunately, it got a bit out of hand. As we approached the island, we weighed anchor. And sure enough, suddenly from the beach, this longboat just comes right out, and there's this massive cacophony, and there's battle that's happening on the beach, and there's these characters, and suddenly there's this massive water monster that's just flying up above me ship, and then suddenly they make their way, and they put the rest of my crew to the sword, and I basically just had to stand there and watch it happen. And sure enough, I told them some fanciful tale about, just happened upon the island. Turns out they didn't have any way off of it. So they said that, well, we're commandeering your ship, and, well, we'll get you back to shore, and we'll see you there, see you safely home. I'll be honest, I didn't really like the idea of them taking me ship, but, I'm a pirate. It's something I get used to, I guess. We're a couple days at sea, and there was this monk that I ended up mouthing off to. I shouldn't have said a fucking thing. But you see, sometimes my words get the best of me, and I make the wrong impression on people. And so they put me in the hold, and they told me they would put me ashore, and they would take me ship, and it would be permanent. And, well, anyway, we finally get close to shore, and suddenly the ship has sprung a leak, not to mention the fact that we ended up fighting a kraken, and there was a kraken priest, had an imprisoned kraken. Anyway, she realizes that she's sort of rambling at this point, and she's sort of just talking and sort of relaying just everything that has happened to her in the last 3 months. And whether it's the zone of truth spell that you have currently on her, or it's just, her needing to just sort of unleash or unload just all the shit that she's gone through in the last 3 months. She just she realizes that she's rambling, and she's like, oh, look at me just fucking going on and on about all sorts of stuff. And I must say, you look very handsome. You and your white silvery hair, and your I don't know. You're very intimidating. I will say. And if you're ever interested in sort of, pursuing the pirate life, I could see my way of making you first mate if you're. And she just sort of peters out. Your expression hasn't changed in the least, so it's just like she suddenly realizes that it might not be having the desired effect that she wants. And anyway, so sorry, but eventually, this monk, that was a part of this group that waylaid me in my ship, and they ended up killing off this priest who had this control, or had the thrall of this kraken. And it turns out it was a baby kraken, and this monk ended up somehow communicating with the kraken, and the kraken, and I guess, took a liking to the monk, and the monk convinced the kraken, since the ship was in the midst of sinking, that the kraken would be able to haul the ship ashore. And sure enough, we get close to shore, and suddenly we see that there's a naval battle of some kind taking place, and there's some elves and some men fighting 2 ships, and for whatever reason, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but they decided to turn me ship into a powder keg. And they ended up sailing, just letting the ship just sail off into the middle of this naval battle. And there was an explosion. And sure enough, my ship was nothing but timbers after that. And Anyway, it was very sad. But then when they finally got me ashore, they ended up taking away my weapons and giving them to some farmer and telling me that I was his prisoner. The man didn't know a thing about what he was carrying, though, and so I ended up knocking him out and tying up his family. And eventually I got to some, seaside village and ended up, meeting with, a crew, some Charybdis marauders people that I am. She gestures rather pridefully at, herself. I am kind of the queen, and so I'm just really trying to get back to the Pirate Isles. That's all I'm trying to do right now. I don't know if you guys could see it in your way to sort of, get me what I need to go. And believe me, I won't do anything, no harm at all to you or your companions. I just want to get back to my home. But I've been talking about me for a hell of a long time. So if you feel free to share anything you'd like to say. Also, be very careful with that needle you have in your hand, because that's going to sting.
Ivar just holds the needle gently. Yes, I will assure you that I will get you where you need to go. But that is not home for you.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Do you believe in the gods, Wolfbane?
The gods? Sure, I believe in the gods. She just, honestly, this is the impression you immediately get is this is a person who has long since given up on the gods having any sway in her life whatsoever.
What do you believe in?
Well, for one, I believe in you. I believe in that.
Flattery will get you nowhere with me.
She's pointing at the needle in your hand. And listen, if you're going to kill me, you may as well just do it. I'm not the least bit interested in this whole pain thing. And, up until this point, I've been very much an open book with you. And if you're gonna do it, then I would ask that you do it, and then you don't throw me overboard after and leave me for whatever fishes decide that they want to make me their meal.
Ivar raises the needle as he looks at it. No, 'tis not my hand meant to end you.
Give me a wisdom saving throw, Ivar.
13.
Okay. Oh, come on. You know you want to. It'll be quick. Whatever this sticky thing is laced with. It's got to be pretty potent, yes. I think you would enjoy this. Let off a little steam. You didn't do much in that fight back there. Just standing there in your armor. Why don't you let me out for a little bit?
Ivar responds out loud, so Sophie will be able to hear this. You speak in my head, yet you know not my mind.
I'm sorry? She says to you.
I have a question. How is she currently restrained?
Currently, she has just rope that is tied around her wrists that are sorry, Jal.
Jal has manacles that he would have volunteered to make sure that she doesn't go anywhere.
That's right. Okay, she is currently manacled wrists. Her feet are unbound. It's a mercy that you've given her, given the fact that they need to get to the gunwale or the portal to just vomit out into the sea. So that is currently how they are restrained.
Noted. Ivar has a moment when she says sorry. He just looks up at her. You see, I used to believe in purpose, greater judgment. But recently, I discovered something dooming and yet liberating. There are no answers above us, Wolfbane. The only ones who can lay judgment upon ourselves is ourselves. And so, for you, I will grant you choice. And he approaches her and hands her the needle. And then steps back and just sits, his hand resting on the pommel of his blade, just the sheathed blade. You will have to choose if you deem yourself worthy of living. Should you think yourself worthy, then you will have to fight for it. Or you can embrace the judgment of your failure and choose your own way of demise by granting yourself the mercy that I am offering.
There's a brief pause. She notes the odd way in which you're talking to her, but also it seems like you're having another conversation with something else. She has the needle in her hand. She looks down at it. You see her grip it, just white knuckling it in this specific moment. You see sort of a wave of nausea come over her face, but also a tension as she's trying to make a decision in this moment.
Ivar is just going to lean in. Tell me, what would you fight for if you had the opportunity to fight for anything?
Her eyes just narrow at you as she's thinking over your words. Freedom. I've worked long and hard to make sure that the Charybdis marauders are no longer slavers of any kind. That has come at my great cost. most of the time. Especially since slaving is highly profitable. It doesn't make me a good person. It just means I don't hold truck with at least one less thing than a lot of my other pirate brethren do. But I would say freedom. And with that, she walks over to the portal, holds the needle, and drops it over the side. She brings her hands back in, sort of a defeated look on her face. She looks at you, grimaces. Even though I'd never seen you fight before, I know for sure that you would absolutely obliterate me. Needle or no needle. So I'm going to be real with you. It wasn't much of a choice whether I was going to try and fight you. Plus, I mean, say I win. I still have to defeat every single one of you on this ship. And then who's left to crew? I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean. There's a dark side of you. Something. She just looks almost through you, Ivar. You're not all there, are you? Sometimes someone else is holding the tiller. Someone else is charting your course. There's a madness there. Kind of curious. Do your friends upstairs know anything about what's going on with you right now?
Ivar gets up. And he starts walking slowly and deliberately toward her.
She takes as many steps back.
He will walk until she's cornered.
Well, she steps 5 steps back, and then her back meets the wall.
He draws a dagger.
She's
I'm sorry, no, I'm gonna take that back. How are the shackles that you gave Jal, how do they function? Are they like a key kind of thing?
It's a key shackles, a chain with 2 links that go around the wrists.
So he's going to just walk to her until she's against the wall. And then he leans close to her. The question is, which of the mad men you see before you think you should fear more?
Her eyes go wide.
And then he reaches behind his back and pulls out the key and begins unshackling her.
There is a moment of silence as she is just shocked. The reach behind the back was like, there was a moment there where she thought that she was getting shanked below deck, that she was never going to see the open air, the open sea ever again.
Ivar removes the shackle and takes them away and the key. You have been judged, and you claim to fight for freedom. You are welcome to try that opportunity by my side. But should you choose to waste this new life that has been granted to you, be it my body or my spirit, I promise thee I will find you and haunt your existence until you plead for the end beneath the waves.
While you're saying these words, Ivar, the other one lets out a moan. Oh, Ivar, come on. You're so close. You're so close. It's going to taste so good. Well. And then suddenly, nothing.
Iva responds while still looking at Sophie.
This is like a truly terrifying conversation if you are Sophie, by the way. Just like totally fucked in the head. Just
Sorry,
watching this guy sort of talk.
Ivar just adds in response to the voice, but also looking at Sophie as he says, as if he's talking to her. The time for bloodshed will come. It always does. It will be a matter of your choice, whether you will stand beside my blade or under it. And with that, he turns around and walks away.
As you walk away, you hear just like an exhalation of air as Sophie starts breathing again. You see her just sort of like all this tension suddenly release from her body as like there was a 50-50 chance that she was going to try and leap at your throat during that whole exchange. But also like she hasn't seen you fight. She's not entirely the kind of person who would just jump into harm's way without first gauging her opponent. So, she pauses as you walk away and she said, oh, I'm so sorry. Just wanted to double check with you. Does this mean I can go upstairs and get some of the breeze in my hair and in my nostrils again?
Ivar reaches the steps and looks over and he says, "You wish to fight for freedom, do you not? What point there is to fight for a freedom you cannot taste?" And then he moves to the side and gestures for the steps, offering for her to go out.
She accepts the invitation and she ascends the steps up onto the main deck. Swiftly, we turn to Jal, you've been making busy, making sure that ropes are stowed and knots are tied effectively. Everything is taut, everything is tight, making sure that sails are where they need to be. Sort of responding to Nesca and a little bit of Yanshu's direction as Yanshu is still getting his sea legs just under him. Again, this has been a voyage in waters he is very unfamiliar with. But as you are doing this, you're walking by the gangplank, and suddenly, from the the hatch, from the hatch, strides Sophie Wolfsbane, followed by Ivar. What do you do?
I'd imagine that Jaw like has something in his hand, be it like, like a coil of rope or something, whatever it is, moving it from point A to point B. And he just kind of like stops and looks, sees her at first, where she probably has a posture of like, is this really okay? So he kind of takes it as like, all right, he probably let her out. For what reason, we'll find out. But just kind of gonna like take a deep breath and look at her. She kind of gets to the top, and like as she's kind of walking by, he's just gonna kind of like look at her and say, I don't know exactly why he let you out, but did he threaten your life if you tried some shit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And she gestures down to Ivar. Your friend's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. So that being said, just like take what he said and pretend that I said it too, because he probably said it a lot more eloquently than I will. So I mean, yeah. Just repeat the whole conversation again and pretend that it came from somebody much more handsome.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of partial to the white-haired fella. But noted. And she sort of strides at this point. She strides past you and heads up to where Nesca and Yonchu are, up by the helm.
Jal just kind of shrugs and kind of looks over at Ivar and goes, some people like their steak with salt and pepper, and just goes back to what he was doing.
Ivar is going to Ivar just sort of in his same detached way hands the shackles and the key back to Jal. As he says, there will be no imprisonment for her next time she tries something. Death is to be her sentence.
Copy that.
Zophie moves up to the helm, spots Nesca maintaining course. She comes up and are you sure you know your way around a ship? This isn't too much of a boat for you, is it?
Like you've handled a vessel like this before.
Oh no, dear, I'm sorry. They don't call me the Pirate Queen for nothing. I've handled ships much larger than this.
Can I hear that?
Sure.
Jal, just as he's doing stuff, just shouts, what kind of pirate queen gets seasick?
Well, and she looks at you, down at you, and retorts, well, I wouldn't be getting fucking seasick if I wasn't so, worried about who was piloting my ship.
Not your ship. Why are you worrying? And he just turns around and just walks away.
That sort of strikes a chord, for it is a number of times in the last 3 months that somebody has said, not your ship anymore.
I didn't say anymore, but still.
There's something to that effect. To that effect. Where someone has dispossessed her of her nautical form of transportation, and it has pissed her off exceedingly.
I am getting shanked tonight.
At this point, Zophie takes a note of both you and Yonchu, Nesca. And she really gives you the up and down sort of, and you realize that it has a lot to do with the fact that you are not human. Ivar presents as human, Jal presents as human, and she is possibly taking in her first Yuan-Ti in this moment.
And I'm not wearing my mask either because I was not expecting her to come out underneath.
Fun.
That and there you and Yanshu are not wearing masks currently. It's kind of we're all friends here at this point. What's the point of hiding our appearance? Yanshu just looks at you and looks at Zophie and just, does she have to stare at us like that?
Do you see something you like?
Oh no, dear, I'm... What are you?
A myth.
Well, this has been a day of wonders. I've gotten seasick. I've had my life threatened. I've been set free after a lot of intimidating and interrogating. And on top of that, I'm discovering that my ship is currently being helmed by a myth. It's just one of those days. I must be having the worst luck right now.
Luck has nothing to do with it.
Not your ship.
It's like a random voice. Like
Saw me. You all saw me. I wanted to say it again.
I was so close.
Rihanna just from the captain's cabin is like, not your ship.
Not your ship,
I
bitch.
was so close. I was so close.
I really wanted to, and I was like, no, I'll take it back.
Oh man. She looks at how you're maneuvering in this particular moment, and she gives you the once over and is just like, hey, if you lot need any help with, you know, whatever you're doing right now with, you know, helming my vessel, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to steer, give you some respite for a bit. By the way, where are we? What's our heading currently?
You admitted to being threatened.
Oh yeah, your traveling companion. She gestures down to Ivar. Ivar? What are you currently doing?
Ivar is at right on the front of the ship, just like standing there. I mean, unless anything was needed of him, he would have just gone there and just silently stare into the nothingness.
She gestures to Ivar and she says, "Oh yeah, the handsome fella. He can be very intimidating when he wants to be. Just out of curiosity, is he all there? Is he? He seems to be in control right now, but I will say there seems to be a dark passenger also with him a lot of the time. While he was interrogating me and asking me questions, he would sometimes just look far afield as if there was someone else there and he was talking to someone else.
Good. I'm not the only one that's noticed this.
Well, shite, why do you have a guy like that on your ship? I'm sorry, my ship. She rolls her eyes. Uncalled for.
Love it. Well, it smells like he scared the piss out of you. So if you wish to make yourself useful, please.
Well,
but do not call this your ship.
Yanshu also just sort of like comes alongside you, Nesca.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, not your ship anymore. His eyes narrow to slits, and you see his tongue just intimidating. Zophie. she at this point she just walks away, just shrugs, and you hear her just say, just under her breath, just not me fucking day. And she goes down the steps and just makes herself scarce, just sitting off to the side. At this point, I need Nesca. Could you please give me another helm check?
Oh, that was a 4 for a total of 5. No,
Terrific.
total of 9. Beg your
We're
pardon.
not making it to Breck, are we?
No, we're not.
We're not gonna make it. No, we ain't gonna make it.
You
Sophie.
the seas do not get any better during this time. But Nesca also doesn't get any better at piloting the boat. Yeah, it is rough sailing. During this time, a new bout of nausea takes Zophie. Also, Rihanna rolled a 19. So everyone else seems to be doing okay, but it is rough sailing out there. And you do actually, I need Ivar to give me a perception check.
22.
Excellent. Out of 22.
Do I see the rocks that we're gonna crash right now because of Nesca? Is that what you
No,
see clearly? Your end.
All right. So as you begin to, you're going down into a trough in the waves, and as you come up to the peak, you see off in the distance, off several leagues away, the sky is becoming increasingly dark and cloudy, and you see faint traces of lightning just touch down in the water and just illuminating and slightly casting the sea in an ominous glow. This doesn't look necessarily like a normal storm to you.
Okay. So I see the clouds ahead and the lightning ahead. Is there anything, what is it in particular that makes me feel or perceive this as perhaps not a natural sort of storm?
At this point, it is the fact that the lightning itself, normally you would anticipate that lightning would be green or lightning would be white. This lightning is a greenish color. At this point, also, you begin to hear the wind and feel the wind begin to pick up as you begin to get closer.
Do I sense, based on the size of this storm, that it is something that is inevitable for us? Like there's no veering course off of it?
You're not entirely sure. It really depends on how good the helmsman is at avoiding it.
Gotcha. Ivar notices this unfolding before him, and he, to himself, he just goes, "Yet another gap from the pits of darkness that unfolds before me." And he considers for a moment and just turns around and starts walking with intention. As he approaches the helm, probably calling out loud enough for Jarl to hear from wherever he may be. "There is a storm ahead, and I fear it's not one to be considered natural. I do not know."
That can't be a thing. Well, why wouldn't it be a natural storm? And then probably he looks up and sees green light and goes, "Oh, yeah, that'll work. I didn't do that, by the way. I know that I do the green stuff. It's not my fault. I didn't. I'll tell Nesca," and he's just gonna turn around and go find Nesca.
Tell her, and Ivar will just say, we may need to change course, or else we will be facing whatever is causing this."
Nesca, give me a perception check.
16.
16. As you hear Ivar relay this information, you look over past the main mast and you see the storm that he's referencing. You see these ominous, just shards of lightning just permeate the ocean around you or directly ahead of you. It looks like this is several leagues away still, so there might be still time to try and navigate around it. At this point, though, it looks like it's going to take some pretty nifty helmsmanship from you going forward. At this point, also, Ivar, you give me a perception check, just on the ship itself, on the yacht.
Oh, that's a 6.
Oh no.
Yeah. In your franticness to relay the information, you are just very much fixated on the storm in this moment, and not so much on the ship itself. Meanwhile, Zophie, hearing Ivar, pardon me, hearing Ivar yell about the storm, noticing the storm herself, she grabs at you, Jal, and she's like, we need to adjust the sails. We need to adjust the sails right now, and she needs to adjust her heading. We need to get around this thing.
Well, yeah, we need to get around it. I'm not sailing through this. Just do what you do.
Ivar will join at the helm where Sophie and Neska and everybody, and he will just say, "Let her take the helm."
Oh, I gladly step back.
Zophie immediately rushes in and just grabs the tiller, and she's all right. And she begins to you, Jal, and to you, Ivar, and on Yanshu, she starts to point at all of the different sails, and she's like, I need you to clap that down, and I need you to hoist this sail right here, and I need you to pull this one in, and I need to make sure that that one is nice and taut. What are you doing just standing there? Just do what I'm go now. And she
Oh no.
No, this is good because as John
You had one job. You know what? I take it back. Where's that needle? I'm going swimming for that needle.
John, here you're gonna go what are you doing? You need to go do this. He's gonna whatever you say, Pirate Queen Dowager, and go and take off to do whatever with ropes and sails.
I am sending this to the Discord.
I am so excited.
Oh no.
Incredible.
Oh no.
Incredible.
So with this I have a question.
Just for everyone on the podcast who can't see our Discord channel right now, Zophie Wolfsbane rolled a nat 1. So
my question is, what is everybody playing next time we get together? Because we're all dead.
what's any classes anyone's wanted to try?
I'm going. You know what? I'm playing a dolphin, and I say, forget about all this life. Okay, I ain't about this life no more.
I am playing a Triton.
At this point, the wind and the waves really start to pick up. Several waves at this point have, as swiftly as Zophie has taken over the helm, the waves have started to come up and crash down on the ship, making it very difficult to adjust course to avoid these waves as they keep crashing over and over and over again. Eventually, though, Zophie does manage to sort of get the gauge of the weather and of the wind as she begins to steer just slightly. Just for the hell of it, I would there's going to be 3 checks. I don't want to roll the checks. I would like each of you to roll 1 check. And this will be This will be a check. This will be a. This will be 3 checks. Each check is has an associated DC with it, and it is how well, as a crew, you are able to effectively adjust sails, change tack, change course, change heading, to navigate amongst these large capsizing waves, and also not get hit by lightning.
High pressure.
All right. So with our first check, we're going to have Jal Horden. And just in this moment, or in this instance, I would like you to say what Jal is doing in this current moment, as he is seeing the ocean and the storm.
He is doing everything in his power because he doesn't know that Zophi rolled a natural 1. He is taking her credentials and saying that she knows what she's talking about when she says, tie that down, turn the sail this way, go to here, do that. He is just doing everything that he can to just stay on task.
Okay. As you are taking stock of all of this in the situation, you see off to the side a massive wave approaching, and the ship is going down into a trough, and this rogue wave is coming right up over, and I need you to make a check for me.
What kind of check, sir?
This will be a dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw. Can part of this Jal just yell out to everybody, hang on, and point to where the wave is coming from so that everybody else knows that there's a giant wave?
This is something you only notice, buddy.
Ah, crack. How's an 11 treat me?
Currently, our Discord is populated by a photo that Ivor has posted of a ship that is about to have some very rough love from a very large wave.
that looks like a toy boat.
That's what this thing that we're probably on looks like in comparison.
Okay. As you see the wave, it hits just as soon as you see it, and the wave hits broadside right across the ship, washes over, and Ivar or Jal, you are knocked off the side of the ship into the ocean.
Well, not into the ocean. I start flying.
Okay. Be that as it may, you are going to take.
Right.
I need more dice.
Yes. I'll be honest, I really don't want to be flying right now, but it's better to be flying than in the water.
You take, as the wave just crashes, sending you over the side, you immediately harness your arcane power, and you buoy yourself aloft, but the wave still impacts you, and you are hit with 13 points of bludgeoning damage.
So 6 points of bludgeoning damage because I'm resistant.
Okay. Care to explain to everyone why you're resistant to bludgeoning damage?
Because Jal Horden is a genie-packed warlock of the Tao, which is a earth djinn, and with that comes resistance to bludgeoning damage from everything.
Smart.
Nice.
At this point, you are the wave sort of like knocks you up, like almost over the side. You're just basically using your power. You hoist yourself up into the air, and you're just sort of hovering over the ship. The ship is still moving though.
Yep.
And it is gone down into another trough, and it is now almost 30 feet below you. And right now, you're pretty much eye level with the main mast. Almost the crow's nest at this point.
Speed of 30 feet, dashing for 60. Can I make it down to the deck again?
Yes, you will be able to do that.
Alrighty, yes. Then that is what I will do.
Okay.
I will still keep the. I mean, I have flight for 10 minutes while this happens, so I mean, just in case I flub up again.
Excellent. At this point, we are going to move on to Nesca. Nesca, as you are on you're still near Zophie on the main deck, where the helm is. You suddenly feel Yanshu's arm sort of reach around you with a rope, and he ties you to the main deck, making sure that you are secured. He then does the same thing for Zophie, and then and in this moment, he is going to also tie himself off as well. That being said, there is a crack of lightning that illuminates the ocean around you. And you see just this massive pillar of dark cloud that is just covering the sky above you. And just torrents of rain are stinging you in the face and eyes. You feel just gallons of water just being hurled on you and through you almost. And you see just the constant crack of thunder as it's almost like a strobe effect as the lightning is like lighting the area around you, but very brief intervals. And then all of a sudden you see another massive wave coming from the opposite side, as this thing is just coming and it's going to crash down right on the area where you are. I need you to also give me a dexterity saving throw. I will say that you are able to do this, though, with advantage, given that you are currently secured by a rope.
Oh, thank God, because one was a 2, the other's another natural 20. For 26.
The wave crashes down, and your lungs fill with water, and your eyes sting. The salt stings your eyes, and you feel just all of your senses are just completely discombobulated in this moment. And as your eyes just clear, you're pawing, just trying to get the water. You suddenly see the loop of the rope where both Zophie and Yanshu were and are no longer. I need you to give me a perception check.
Perception. 15.
As you, at this point, you're frantically looking around, trying to like grab at the rope, and you're also like trying to give yourself as much slack to run around the sides of the ship. You see both Yanshu and Zophie in this moment are over the side in the water and are steadily getting further and further away. You see Yanshu has Zophie, who looks to be unconscious. You see Zophie being hauled by Yanshu as he's trying to get back to the ship.
I can't do diddly squat.
Wait. Where's the bride at this point?
Rihanna's in the captain's cabin. She's not doing shit.
It seems to be a little rocky
Rihanna
today.
All she heard was that there was a storm coming, and she was like, oh, it's
I'm out.
not my monkeys, not my circus.
Okay. Is there any like flotation devices hanging off the side of the boat?
There are no flotation devices.
Of course, there's not.
What are you gonna do?
Are there any men overboard? Can I? Do I know?
Ivar and Jal, give me perception checks to see if you hear her.
I'm like, ugh.
It'll depend on me rolling perception? Oh no.
That's a 7.
No.
You do not hear Nesca's cries as she tries to her best to alert you. Nesca, I'm going to say, for the sake of this, rolling a d6, you have 4 rounds potentially before both Yanshu and Zophie are outside of your reach. So you need to figure out what to do.
Can I see Joel flying?
You see a wave just absolutely destroy Jal, just knocking him up into the air. Well, not actually seeing him knock off the ship. But then suddenly you see sort of almost a greenish hue suddenly almost he starts to glow slightly. And you see him suddenly and buoy himself aloft up into the air just as the ship starts to descend. But then he just as quickly comes down and touches down on the deck.
I'm gonna keep pointing, yelling, "Man overboard," and then look for anything that's loose, or if there are like barrels of something that I can untie and throw overboard so they have something to hang on to.
Give me a perception check.
6.
In the cacophony of the storm and in this moment, all you can find around you are the ropes that you have that were once secured to those people. There's also a small piece of deck rigging that's sort of like as a surplus if it was ever needed. It was where it was supposed to be. It is just sitting on the deck off to the side, sort of secured to the side of the ship. That could also be used. But yeah, in sort of the chaos of the storm, that's all you can really see in this moment.
Okay. How long were the ropes that Yonshu used to
30
secure
feet.
us? Each?
Yes.
Okay, so that's gonna give me 90. How far out are they?
They are currently about 20 feet away.
And okay, I'm gonna keep my rope around my waist, but I'm going to undo my, like where my rope is attached, and I'm gonna start linking all the ropes together and then secure it again.
Okay. I'm going to say you are, given your background, I'm going to say you're very proficient. I'll say that you're proficient at using rope and using knots specifically. I'll say that you're able to do this quickly, but it is going to take you a round.
Okay.
Okay. So that means you have 3 rounds left.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to give it
You have the rope, you have the knots tied. So currently you have a rope now that is 60 feet in length.
I would do it with all 3 to give me 90 feet of rope.
You only have, are you untying the rope that is currently around you?
I was keeping mine, but I was untying where it connected to the deck where it was secured. So I'm tying all 3 pieces of rope together.
So you are unsecuring yourself from the deck.
Stupidly. Briefly.
I'm just asking.
Her man is overboard.
I understood. So you are, in order to give yourself the most reach with the rope, you are unsecuring your rope. You still have it wrapped around you, but you're unsecuring your rope from the deck. You are then tying all 3 ropes together to form a rope that is 90 feet.
Yes, but I would do my rope last. I would get 60 feet, secure that, then tie my rope.
Understood.
So I am.
That's fine.
Unsecured
Currently,
for
though,
that time.
I thought you were just doing the 2 ropes together. That was the round. So we'll say the next round, you can untie yourself you can unsecure your rope from the deck, and then you can tie that additional rope to the rope that you've already tied together, forming a long rope of 90 feet.
Okay.
And I'll say that you can do that and get to the side of the ship to get a vantage point on them. At this point, they are now 40 feet away.
This is
I
fine.
need you.
This is fine.
I'm going to say during this time, you stated that you were also yelling to Jal and Ivar. I'm going to have Ivar and Jal. I need you to give me 2 additional perception checks. Also during this, just keep in mind, no one's helming the ship.
2 each, or one for each of us.
That is a 20 and
One
a
for-
23.
1 for each of you.
Okay.
Oh, 20.
Okay.
I got 12.
Okay, Jal, you do not hear Neska's cries over the wind and the waves. Ivar, in this moment, like you are super focused on just everything that is happening, mainly because I actually do need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Of course you do.
Now?
And I give you a 26.
Thank you.
There is a very brief impression in your mind that somebody might be trying to come through and say something, but in this moment of terror on the high seas, you quell that fear, you quell that emotion, you assert your will and dominance in this moment, and that voice is silenced. You then hear the loud cries of Neska saying, screaming, "Man overboard, man overboard." You immediately just you gave me a perception check. You see off getting further and further away. You see Yanshu and Zophie all over side. Zophie appears to be unconscious in this moment, and Yanshu is trying desperately to swim back to the ship. This is round 3. You're doing this also simultaneously with Neska in this moment.
I'm like debating on. So, I will say that I'm debating whether to jump myself or to have Nesca do it.
You have 5 seconds to choose.
Fuck. I go to Nesca as I hear and I notice the what's happening in the distance, and I go to Nesca. I probably at this point see what she's doing with the ropes. And I'll probably recognize it, and I offer to grab the rope as I just tell her, "Go!" And I look for a way to just me secure the ropes that she's tying up and everything, so I can secure myself, and then also have my strength to be ready to pull whenever necessary.
I'll say on a 26 perception, was that what it was?
That was the wisdom save. The perception was dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. On a dirty 20, I'm going to use that. As you are standing alongside Neska, you see the rope in her hand. You see that she has it fastened around her waist. You see there is a space at the top of the ship. There's pieces of like slats of wood that are like openings. You can pass the rope underneath and through them, and that way the Neska is like is not in danger of getting swept over if the rope is passed through in this way. The way it is though is that if Neska is sort of the anchor, it's going to take someone else to throw it.
Wait, if she's the anchor, somebody else to throw it to them?
Yes. So she's anchoring herself to the ship to make sure that it's not going anywhere, that the rope is secured.
Got it.
She needs both hands to do that. So somebody else has to throw the rope.
So I would offer to throw the rope. I guess, yeah.
Okay.
I would, as soon as I see that, I would move to action.
Okay, that brings us to round 2. I need both Jal. Actually, no, just Jal. I need you to give me another dexterity saving throw. Again, I would like to remind everyone that the ship is currently unhelmed.
How far am I from helm at this point?
You're about 10 feet away from the helm.
That is an 8, sir.
No.
God
Out
damn.
rolls.
Okay. Jal,
Uh-huh.
in this moment, you've touched down on the deck. You're just like trying to like grab onto anything as another wave just comes crashing down on you. The wave does not push you over the side. It instead slams you right into the mainmast. Just
That's worse.
Ouch.
and you take, because it is not only the force of the wave but also the wave crashing into a solid object.
Uh-huh.
That is 18 additional points of bludgeoning damage, which I know 9.
All right. I'm
Um,
just going to say, even though I'm taking damage, it's still fine because at least this stuff is healable. No more vampire crap. All right, that's fine.
In this moment, though, as you sort of are like, the world goes dark for a brief second as you make impact. Your body makes a real bad impact against the side of the mainmast. That being said, as your body makes impact and you sort of come to again, you see that nobody's at the helm. And Ivar and Nesca are both up at the top, past the helm, and they're doing something.
Jal's just gonna like start walking that way, like stumbling that way, not gonna lie, and just start yelling, "What the heck are you guys doing? Grab the freaking wheel!"
I will say not. Well, I'm not going to use a round to do this, but I will say both of you give me perception checks to see if you hear.
31.
23.
All right.
Both
I
of you
can't
hear Jal in this
Can't hear
moment.
nothing, but y'all can hear me.
Both of you hear Jal in this moment yelling, and there's brief. There is a reminder in this moment that there is nobody helming the ship. The ship currently is at the mercy of the storm.
Don't know how far I could walk to see if I could at least grab the wheel so that it's not free spinning and the rudder's just going with the current. Which I also don't know if it's a good idea to do that, but that's what Jal would be doing if he could make it there.
I mean, you mentioned that Ivor is close.
You're 10 feet away. You're both, Nesca and you are both 10 feet away. Jal, you are about 30 feet away from the tiller.
You know what? I'm going to cast Mage Hand and grab it. Which Mage Hand is not very strong, but whatever I can do to try to hold it, it's just like...
I mean, wait a second, because the thing is that I didn't fully use this in the previous one, but being that I noticed Nesca doing the thing with the rope, and I know that there's someone that needs to throw it, but being at 10 feet and needing to throw the rope, would I be able to just kind of have a moment of like reaching while having the rope in the other hand? So I could have at least try to stay, so that the tiller is not fucking spinning. I would just try to like, at least keep it steady.
All right, so I'm gonna lay it out for you. The more tasks that you incorporate into this round, the higher the DC, as opposed to you focusing on one task, just throwing a rope, which has its own DC. You trying to maintain control of the ship while also throwing a rope a certain distance, there's a certain level of difficulty with that because you're in the middle of a fucking storm. So what do you choose to do? We'll say that we're coming to the end of round 2.
Okay, so this is the end of round 2, and there's 4 rounds, correct? That we have until...
You have 1 round after 2.
We have 1 round after 2.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, I mean, I don't know what if you, Jal, if you want.
Get the helm.
I still don't know that people are overboard, and trust me, I could get to them if I knew this.
I have a plan. Get
Okay. So I'm gonna trust Nesca here.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go to the helm, try to grab the helm, to veer it and try to basically aim to put the ship facing where the waves are coming, so the ship is not ends up parallel to the waves and risking being flipped over, while at the same time aiming to shout at Jaw.
Okay. What specifically are you shouting at Jaw?
I'm shouting. What's
Yanshu?
his? Yeah. I would probably say, Jaw, Yanshu, overboard.
Yanshu's board. Wait, overboard. What? So, I mean, I know that we're in like a loose initiative thing, but on turn 2, could I use things that are my action and bonus action?
Yes, I'll allow that.
Were you pointing the direction that they were or anything? Do I know
I
what
would have.
direction
He
they
probably
used?
would have just sort of like nodded with his head as he's trying to use both hands to grip on the tiller. He probably would have
Okay.
just like nod in the direction of Nesca too.
First, before we do that, I need Ivar. I need you to give me a piloting check using your intelligence.
Oh Lord,
I'll pray for you.
this is. I have nothing on that.
You don't have intelligence?
Just an intelligence check.
Yeah, just straight intelligence check.
Yeah, that's a plain naked 10.
Okay,
Close on that 10.
so
That's navigation. I just want to keep that fucking thing just.
I know what you want to do. And normally, if there wasn't a massive fucking storm happening, you probably would be able to be just fine.
I was here like,
At
give
this
me my
point-
strength. Let me at
We're
least
so dead.
fucking
this point-
intelligence.
Ivar, you begin to feel just that slight impression in your mind, sort of, but it's not a voice. It's just a frantic feeling that you're losing control, because you are currently dividing your attention in 3 different ways: inward, trying to make sure that whatever is inside you doesn't get out. You're also trying to make sure that Jal is where he needs to be, or trying to direct his attention. And then you're also trying to make sure that you're aware of where Yanshu and Zophie are in relation to the ship and Nesca. With a 10, I'm going to say that you are able to steer the ship, but not enough to get it directly so that the next wave coming, so that it's hitting at you at a diagonal. It's not a broadside, but it is going to hit you. The wave hits, just blasts over the side of the ship. It comes down, smashing. Jal, I need you to give me another deck save.
Oh, this is
Oh, Jal.
potentially going to ruin everything. That's a 15.
Jal, you are able to, using your flight, you're able to move just outside of the crash, not taking any of the bludgeoning damage. But you are, as you do, you see this thousands of gallons of water just come crashing down on the deck, and you see that normally where the ship is very buoyant and is able to sort of like right itself again, you see that the ship is starting to take on just a little bit, but starting to take on water as the ship is just being inundated by wave after wave. I need Ivar, you've already stated you're trying to maintain control of the ship. Are you trying to throw the rope at this point? We're coming to the end of round 2.
So you said, so this would this be the one that it's not as hard to throw the rope, or do I need to wait till the next one?
No, it's still hard to throw the rope. You're trying to pull off a feat of both strength and agility in this moment.
Apparently intelligence too, which is
And
not my forte.
intelligence.
Which
Yes.
is not my forte.
Your brain is taking too much brain power from your
Yeah.
arms.
I will say that considering the fact that I can feel this thing trying to come in, Ava will probably just focus on the ship and keeping the ship, steadying the ship on
Okay.
this round.
All right. Nesca, do you need to do anything else, or do you want to do anything else?
So I was a little confused on what rope situation Ivar was doing.
So Ivar, so basically, you have the rope around your waist, right? But in order to make sure that you also don't get swept over the side, you are holding onto the rope as it's passed through this basically this space in the wood on the top of the main deck. So the rope is passed through the space, meaning it is still sort of secured to the ship, but then it's passed through, and now it has to be thrown by somebody, but it still has, you're still anchoring it right now.
Oh, that's what you meant by I was the anchor. Okay, no. So I wanted to secure the other end to the ship, so that was the rope is the anchor point, whether that be the mast or one of the railings or whatever I can tie and secure.
I misunderstood that. I'll say that you can just do that. Give me a survival check with advantage. We're just seeing how well you tie knots.
16 and an advantage. That's a natural 1. So we're going with the 16.
Yeah, you frantically untie. You see at this point, Zophie and Yanshu, when the ship is moving further away, they are now 50 feet away from you. At this point, you untie the rope and you lash this rope to the railing, and you form a fairly secure knot, at least you think it is, a very secure knot. You then have the remainder of the rope balled up in your hand, ready to throw. That brings us to the end of round 2. You have 1 round left. Jal?
Yes, sir.
Top of the round. You see Ivar barely holding on, barely maintaining control of the ship. You do notice that the ship is starting to take on some water. What are you doing in this moment?
I gotta get these people back on board. You know, they friggin'... Oh, I mean, that's actually really a conundrum. It's starting to take on water. Starting to. Okay, do I know what direction Yanshu and Zophie are?
You not specifically. All you know from Nesca and from Ivar is that they are over the side, and they've just been just in the general direction over the side.
If I have a general direction, that's enough for now, because Jal's then going, hearing man overboard go, crap, and you're all going to, everybody who's particularly Ivar is going to see Jal's flight aura flare up as I cast Expeditious Retreat on myself and take off from the boat, dashing with my action, dashing with my bonus action. I now have 90 feet to move.
Okay. You do that. Sort of a blaze of green, fiery energy just licks all over your body as you suddenly are just glowing this verdant green. As you ascend into the sky, you see, I'm going to say, just based off of Nesca and Ivar, their gestures, you see down all about 50 feet away from the ship, you see Zophie sort of hanging on to Yanshu as Yanshu is again swimming, but is not getting any closer to the ship. At this point, you are how high up?
I would. I'd have. I'm going to them, so I mean,
you're heading in that general direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm heading directly to. My goal is to grab them, and with my not so great strength, try to start getting them closer to the boat.
Okay. I'm going to say that you were able to get within 10 feet for this round.
Okay.
You're able to get within 10 feet of them. So you're just almost like Superman going over the water at high speed,
or like a different superhero, but yeah.
Yeah, or like
Green Lantern, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Copyright? What?
Yeah. You speed over the water. At this point, Nesca. Actually, hold on. We're gonna do Ivar first, then Nesca. Ivar, I'm gonna say your roll here determines how high the DC is for Nesca's throw.
Oh, great. Okay.
No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure. You got this. It's just
This will be This will be another helm check.
And
You
that's
got
strength,
this.
right?
What's
That's
that?
strength. That's strength. That's a strength check, right?
No, it's an intelligence check. It's still an
And with
intelligence.
intelligence, you mean like the intelligence of muscles.
Your brain muscle, right? So
My
strength.
my brain is a muscle, so
Yeah, you got to flex that brain muscle.
right. Right.
Andy is so done with us. That is why we're all dying.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, this is still an intelligence check.
No, it's not. Not anymore.
That's a lucky 7.
Lucky 7.
And I would like to emphasize the lucky part. Okay?
Oh no.
It's
On a 7.
Mythologically speaking, it's a lucky number.
Rolls.
On a 7. Another massive rogue wave comes up over the side of the front of the ship, and suddenly the front of the ship just descends down into this trough as you just feel it's almost like you're going into the trough, but then suddenly another wave just comes right in, and suddenly the ship is just underwater almost, as you just, and then suddenly pushed out the other side of this wave wall.
Hey.
The DC is 20, Nesca, for your throw.
What if I'm not going to throw?
Then we'll see what happens.
I knew it was coming.
Because
I have already thrown myself, though.
I know.
While this is happening, by the way, Ivar is holding that thing and looking at the waves as he says, "This is the judgment you lay upon us. Come, bring down the storms of hell, the hells. For if we are to drown today, let it be gloriously."
Oh my god. Okay, so seeing y'all fly off has changed my plans. Because I was going to use Step of the Wind, but I still am, because y'all's only going to be able to move one person. Oh, but then the ship. No, I'm going. Okay, hold on.
I know, right?
He's not gonna be able to move just one person if there's a rope there.
Okay, yeah.
Currently, at this point, they are 60 feet away. Your rope is 90 feet.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll throw it.
Okay. The DC is 20. This is going to be a strength check for you.
Can it be acrobatic?
I mean, is
The negotiation of despair.
so here's my argument here. A rope is a simple thing, right? And simple weapons are monk weapons, so this should be
All right. I'm going to do this for you, Nesca.
I'm gonna shut up now.
I'm gonna say if you make this acrobatics DC,
Okay.
you will maintain your footing on a slippery deck, which will allow you to do the throw at advantage.
Okay.
Okay, so first, give me an athletics check.
You mean acrobatics?
Or, I'm sorry, acrobatics, yes.
Yeah. Cool. 24.
24. All right. Okay. As the wave, it's almost impossible. You're not sure how you did it in this moment, but as the ship just crashes through this wall of water, you feel almost like you're about to lose your footing, and you just, like, with whether it's Yuan-Ti certainty in this moment or some monk shit going on, you maintain your footing on the deck, and you still feel like your grasp on the rope is tight. I will say make this strength check with advantage.
Strength. You know what's hilarious? The DC is 20.
Yes.
I can't make it. I have a -1 to my strength.
Can you give me a convincing argument for why it should be any other attribute?
I do. I'll step on the soapbox. I don't give a.
Let's go.
I'll go and say.
Could we perhaps persuade the rope to just go to Yanshu?
I'm just going
I
to
can't
present it.
suggest
I want to present it thus: the way that a monk would throw a dart.
No, okay. So if I could continue with the acrobatics, if that boat has like lurched and I'm like using my footing, can I use that momentum to do like a shot put, like spin and just use my body weight and my momentum to yeet it?
I have a counter argument.
Please help me.
Well, if it's DC 20 for her to throw the rope to Yanshu and to Zophie, what is the DC to throw it to me, who is a glowing closer target?
Throw my shoulder out.
Okay. I will say that the DC.
Hindsight, I could have grabbed the rope on my way by, but
I'll say that
You didn't know what I was doing.
given that you have retained your footing on the ship, and that you are in this moment going to be rolling with advantage, the DC for this throw will be a 17.
17? Okay.
to
That's
me,
still strength.
To throw it to Jal.
Okay.
Keep in mind, Jal is still 10 feet away from Yanshu and from Zophie.
that's
Yeah, but I
okay
can't-
though. That's
okay.
okay
I
though.
can't.
That's okay. We can't communicate. You know, this is we're not having this conversation because we can't communicate right
we
now.
can't.
It's okay though. I believe in you.
I'm just saying it's a rope, and if you talk about the simple weapon thing, like you said, Joel, and they being a monk, I would say a dex check could also be a possibility. Just
Wait. I have a better idea. Okay, hear me out. Ivar, throw the rope at Nezca so that they could use their deflect missiles to then feed it. Because throwing it would be an improvised ranged weapon attack. So all of a sudden it's a ranged weapon. So now you can yeet it with monk's dexterity, and there you go.
There you
But I
go.
rolled. I'm screaming out, Joel! And I got an 18. I rolled a 19. So that brings me to 18, and then I got a 7.
Okay.
I got an 18!
I know
Nezca,
what's coming.
you get as much momentum, your muscles coil, and you throw this with all of your strength and desperation in this moment. Toss the rope out over the water, and it slaps into the back of Jal's head. Jal, you are able to give me an athletics check.
I know. That's good. Okay. All right. Wait, I'm gonna calm down. Let's not get too excited because I've been rolling like crap. All right.
I
Athletics
believe
check.
in you.
Athletics check. It's a +4, which is not bad. All right. That's a 15.
You're able to grab it.
Yes.
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 You grab it.
Ugh.
That concludes round one. As Jal, since you are closest, you are 10 feet away at this point. As
Yes.
you grab the rope and you feel it, it sort of like slips around your wrist, and you sort of and just wrap it up and around. Yanshu and Zophie disappear beneath the waves.
I dive.
No.
You dive.
I
Okay.
dive.
At this point, what does flight do when it's underwater?
That's a
Aquaman?
good question. Because the only thing that's coming to mind is is a rule that I heard on a podcast, which is a Pathfinder podcast, which said that there's a rule out there that flight, specifically things like the flight spell, where it's not like using wings, would continue while you are underwater. So let's see what we can find out.
Okay, so what I'm getting from what I see online, and for those who are watching and listening, I did actually look this up, and I'm in a Reddit thread right now, and it actually makes a lot of sense. So what we have here, swim speed and fly speed are separate stats. So you wouldn't get to jet through the water like a torpedo.
Okay.
Your swim speed would be whatever it normally is,
Which is half of
as
30.
as long as you cast fly before entering water. There's nothing about entering water that would prematurely end the spell, as long as you are able to maintain concentration on it.
Okay.
You would still be able to fly as soon as you surfaced. Casting fly while in water is more complicated. So,
etc., etc.
so your fly speed is still good after you exit the water, or once you get
Right.
back to the surface. But once you are down, you are using your swim speed.
Okay. So that being said, swimming without actually having a swim speed, you can swim at half your normal speed, which I still have Expeditious Retreat cast on myself, which allows me to dash with my bonus action. So I could still have in this turn 45 feet of movement by using my action and bonus action to dash.
And you will only need 20. As you descend into the waves, with almost, it's just a split-second decision. You realize that in this moment, you guys were cutting it close, and you're taking a gamble here. You immediately dive headfirst into the water, using as much momentum from your fly spell as possible. You descend into the dark, inky depths of the ocean. It is pitch black. You cannot see unless you.
Wait. I do. I have dark vision out to 120 feet.
Okay. Even with dark vision,
Jal Hordin, expert diver.
even with dark vision in this moment, you're only able to very faintly see the brief illumination that is caused by the lightning. And the lightning cracks, and you are able to see briefly a flicker of Yanshu grasp. He's lost his hold on Zophie. You see Zophie just struggling a few feet away from him, also at this point awake, trying to grapple and move up above the waves. I need you to give me, who are you going to first? Who are you trying to grab first?
I'm being honest, Yanshu.
Okay. You're going for Yanshu first. Okay. I need you to
He
give me.
did try to kill us like 3 days ago, so.
I need you to give me a. I need to give me athletics check.
Okay. All right. Natural 20 for a total of 24.
Yes!
Okay. All right.
Here they come.
I am a goddamn superhero.
There is a brief moment where there is no lightning, and because of that, it is incredibly dark, very like almost gray scale. Like,
I very much so
around
see
you.
this as like, even though I have dark vision, it's not the same. It's dark still.
As you see the faintest flicker of light suddenly permeates your surroundings, and you see Yanshu, and you see him just trying, like gulping down just seawater and trying to grasp for the waves above, and you see him reach out and you grab his hand. I need you to give me a strength check to maintain.
Just strength. Okay, this is not as good of a roll. That's a 10.
As you grasp his arm, the force of the waters and the currents that are running.
The hand that has the rope. Maybe.
Hold on, let me see if Yanshu can grab it. That is a 15. Plus his
15.
Plus 6. Okay. That is a 21. he is able to grab, he loses grasp of your hand, but he's able to grab onto the rope and sort of, he does the same thing and tries to coil it around his arm, maintaining just hold of it. Give me a perception check, Jal.
It's an 8.
In this moment, Jal, as you see Yanshu weak as he is, as he's been fighting against this storm and the ocean and the currents, trying to get control, you see him coil the rope around his arm. And just as you see him do that, you start to look frantically around for Zophie, and you can't see her anywhere.
Then with my remaining movement, I try to get Yanshu to the surface.
Okay.
He's got the rope and he's gulping down water. So I mean, if I could just get him to the surface,
What's your
maybe I
remaining
can try
movement?
something else. You said it took me 20 feet to get there.
Yep.
And using bonus action to dash, I would have had 45 feet.
Yep. Okay. So you were able to get back up to the surface.
Okay.
At this point, you surface. You see Yanshu is just sucking in the air in between, like getting slapped in the face with waves. You yourself are also you're sort of glowing this greenish hue as you also surface. Nesca and Ivar, you both see Jal in this moment just buoying himself, also just sort of beginning to like pull the rope, trying to get as close to the ship as he can. Are you at this point? I'm only asking.
Do I trust Yanshu to start pulling himself in? Like, that's what I see him doing? He's pulling himself into.
Yes, he very weakly. He's not making any significant. He's not like an Olympic, swimmer at this point. Like he's not making any great strides to get closer to the ship. He's just holding on and like very weakly sort of gaining a little bit of momentum.
Jal just shouts, "Keep going!" And with my last 5 feet of movement, I dive back down. I'm gonna devote at one more turn, looking to see if I can find her.
We broke the DM.
Panic!
I let go of the rope and I go, so long as I can get back to the surface of the water, I can fly back to the ship. But we're going to give it at least one more shot.
Okay. I need you to give me there's a sequence to this.
Yeah. If it's next turn that the sequence comes up, that's fair. I mean,
No.
a lot of shit has
At this
happened.
point, I need you to give me. So as you duck down beneath the waves again, I need you to give me a. You need to give me a perception check.
Okay. You can try this again. That is a 12. We're moving up in the world.
All right. As you descend beneath the waves, just as you start to look around, the lightning crash and the sound, you can even hear it below the waves, just illuminates the area around you. And you see Zophie not struggling against the waves anymore, just sort of hanging there limply. Not entirely sure what her status is right now. That's not the only thing you notice.
Oh.
Down in the inky depths beneath the ship and beneath the body of Zophie Wolfsbane, a massive, roiling pod of movement. Massive, inky black tentacles just writhing and moving underneath the water. And as you know that scene, everyone here seen Han Solo? No one's seen. You haven't
Yes.
seen Han Solo?
I haven't
I've seen
The
Solo,
person
yeah.
who's underwater. That's who I wanted to know. If they saw it. That scene when they're in the maw and they're flying, and suddenly you see like there's that almost a lightning effect, and you see the thing. There's something moving in the cloud,
Yeah.
and then suddenly they get really close, and suddenly a massive eye opens up. You see this roiling mass of dark, thick black tentacles. And almost at the very center, you see these massive reptilian looking eyes. And in this moment, you recognize that actually you don't. Not at a 12. Not on a 12.
That's
You
fair.
see Zophie. You see Zophie. And you see this other thing beneath the waves. I need you to give me, there's going to be a couple things here. I need you to give me an athletics check to get to her. I need you to give me a strength check to grab on and hold, maintain your hold. And then another athletics check to get above the waves. So athletics check, strength check, athletics check. 3 checks.
Come on,
Well,
you got this.
On the
You guys
plus
are 8th
side,
level. It's going to be fine.
on the plus side, if I fail the first one, I don't have to make the other 2.
Fair.
No pressure. No pressure. No pressure. All right. Number 1, athletics, plus 4. That's a natural 1.
Jal. You don't have hold of the rope right now, right?
Oh, I let go. So that I could actually get further away without dragging Yanshu back.
Okay. Given that you've let go of the rope and you are beneath the surface of the waves, and as you're trying to get closer to Zophie, you just feel this current suddenly take you. And suddenly, what was just a few more feet is suddenly, honestly, it's uncanny how many nat ones that have taken place in this game so far. Suddenly, you are suddenly pushed apart, and you see these massive tentacles with almost a yellowish, greenish glow about them. Roil and spin up until they grasp Zophie's limp body and begin to drag her down. That is going to conclude, since it was a nat 1, that's going to conclude this round. At this point, oh, nice. Very nice. I don't know how you guys find these backgrounds, but that's pretty much fucking spot on. At this point, this is another separate round. What's your Constitution modifier?
That's a question every player loves to hear. Plus 2.
Okay. You're still fine. You're not drowning.
Yet.
Given the rules surrounding drowning, a creature may hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus their Constitution modifier. So, you are not
Might
drowning.
need that. I might need that whole 3 minutes.
At this point, you have a choice. You can choose and try to swim to Zophie, loosen the grip of the tentacles, or at least try and pull her out of the tentacles and try to get back up. Or you can cut bait.
I mean, you see this thing? How is my 13 strength gonna get her out of those tentacles? And also, I don't even know if she's conscious. She could be a corpse right now. Jal's got to get Yanchu on board. Jal heads back up.
Jal, as you begin to desperately try to swim up to the surface, I need you to give me one more athletics check.
Natural 20.
Oh,
All right, let's get out of Dodge. It's over. Time to punch
with
out.
alarming alacrity, you swiftly make your way up to the surface, you clear the waves, and you're just gasping for air in this moment. Also, just fear is gripping you right now, knowing that there is actually something beneath you. You see off about 10 feet away from you, Yanshu is weakly sort of like trying to pull himself in with the rope. You see also Nesca holding onto the rope on the ship. You see just barely Ivar sort of maintaining. Ivar, I need you to give me another helmsman check.
What? Next time, just throw me in the water. Really.
Why?
I'll just
come on.
I'll just fight the thing. It's an intelligence check.
Listen, Yanshu is small.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, I am nothing if not consistent. That's another 10.
That's just impressive.
Another wave comes crashing down. This one even bigger than the last one. You, as opposed to the 3 seconds you spent with the ship underwater, this is 5 seconds. 5 whole seconds. This ship is fully submerged inside this wave as you move through it. It's like the wave just comes crashing down. You feel the intense pressure of the water on your body. Nesca, I need you to give me a dex save. You are not currently.
Okay.
You're not
You're
currently
Dexy and you know it.
You're Dexy and you know it.
Yeah.
I am, because I had the rope around my waist and I'd secured the end of the 90 feet to something else.
What I understood was that the other end of the 90 feet was connected to Jal and Yanshu. It's not connected.
Okay, we'll
to the
go with
ship.
that. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. That wasn't my plan, but we'll go with that. An advantage? What did you say?
And just a straight dex save.
14.
Okay. As this wave just comes crashing through the ship, you are knocked off of your feet and you are sliding across the deck and you are knocked almost up and over the side of the ship, but you hold on with the rope connected to you. At this point, Ivar, I also need you to give me a dex save.
Oh.
When she let go of that
22.
Yes.
22?
Yes.
Ivar, you've never held onto a tiller of a ship more tightly in your entire life. You're just like, not today. You're just trying to hold on for dear life in this moment as this wave just crushes into this ship. Again, this was a yacht. This is not like a deep sea vessel. Like you've been doing well so far, but this is a massive storm that you guys are in amongst. Also,
it's about to be a deep sea.
It's a different kind of thing. It's about to be a deep sea vessel. It's about to
We're
be
about to turn this into. We're about to turn this into a submarine, my friend.
By any chance, is the yacht yellow? Because we all live in a yellow submarine.
No, but that would be hilarious.
It would have been a foreboding. It's like you get on a yacht and it's yellow, and nobody understands why the color is important till today.
You leave your feet in this moment, Nesca, and you're sort of holding on to the side of the ship. You see Yanshu just slowly just trying to pull himself up. You also see Jal just clear the water and just is holding himself up above the waves. Jal, what do you do?
If I can get above those waves, resume my flight speed and try
You're able
to scoop Yanshu to get him back towards the ship, either closer or I don't know. How much does Yanshu weigh?
He weighs about 170 pounds.
Oh, cool. My carry capacity is 195.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, he's a live 175. So he is, yeah, you're able to pick him up. He's still wrapped around the rope is wrapped around him in this moment. You're able to clear the waves and you're able to get Yanshu back on deck. And also like as you're sort of dragging Yanshu on deck, you're also like picking up the slack of the rope, and you sort of like haul an almost drowned Nesca.
yeah,
As you both are just come up alongside. Ivar, you're like white knuckling it as another massive wave comes right in front of you. The ship descends into the trough. And it's like one of those, you've seen them on TikTok probably, but you're like, the ship descends and you're like, wait, is that a wave? Is that like a massive, massive wave? It's like the perfect storm. The wave comes up, the ship begins to move. Thankfully, on a 10, you're able to move up, and the ship is beginning to move, and suddenly you are facing straight up and down. The ship, straight up and down, crests the very top of the wave. I need you to give me a final helmsman's check.
Come on. Come on.
What is it, buddy?
It was nice knowing y'all. That was a 6.
Okay. On a 6, you crest the very top, and for a very brief moment, you feel almost weightless in that your feet have left the deck, and the ship, for a very brief second, is no longer a ship. It is flying. It is floating in air as you feel just this immense weightlessness, because you suddenly realize that you are falling fast. And as you fall, it makes contact with the wave again, and it is now sideways, almost surfing down this massive wave that is now capsizing, coming crashing down on top of the ship. I need every single one of you to give me a dex save.
But Andy, I've used up my nat 20s. Okay. It's a 15.
16.
15, 16,
18.
18.
Yeah. Start.
Yanshu rolled a 3.
Do I still have him?
Hit him.
He's holding on to you, and it's one of those things. Actually, hold on. Because he's holding on to you, you're holding on to him. This is a moment where you've touched down on the ship just as this is happening. I hate to do this to you, Jaw, but I'm going to need you to give me a strength check at disadvantage.
It's a chance. Just strength check. So
I mean, I managed my strength check. You can manage yours.
16 over. That'll be a 16.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
As this wave begins to take the ship and turn it on its side, as you begin to
I apologize. My brain did that backwards. That is a 10. I rolled a 16 and a 10. I did an advantage because my brain was hoping.
At a disadvantage, so at a 10. Okay.
That's not so good.
At a 10, gravity is doing its thing. You guys are coming crashing down. The ship is now sideways on this wave as the wave is cresting over the side of the ship, pushing it so that the main mast of the ship is now almost making contact with the water on the other side. You are now surfing, the ship is now surfing down this massive wave, basically like in Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey with the ship in that massive wave. That's basically what's happening. And you are basically surfing down this. And as you do, Jal, as you are trying to like get your own bearings, it's like you and Yanshu are floating in air and you have him grabbed on, but then the wave hits the two of you and you feel the fingertips just pulling, just grasping for anything, grasping for whatever. You see just Yanshu just gets swept up. And you see him, Yanshu rolled a 16 on his deck save.
Okay.
He gets swept up and gets caught right in the rigging of the ship. And he just grabs onto whatever rope he can as he's gripping for dear life. Nesca, you got an 18. And Ivar, you got a 16.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. In this moment, your feet leave the deck. You are falling along with the ship. And you know, for a very brief second, you thought, this day started so well. And in this moment, the ship impacts on the water. Massive plume, geyser of water as this ship makes full impact. You immediately make impact on the deck. That is 17 points of bludgeoning damage to each of you.
17.
Yes.
Is to Nesca and Ivar?
Daneska and Ivar.
Oh, not me.
So you're not swept over the side of the ship and you're not in the water right now, but you did impact with the ship. In this moment, the ship is on its side. At this point, you have no idea where Rihanna is. Just so people are watching, I'm responding to something that Jal posted in our chat.
I said Rihanna is bouncing around like a pinball.
Oh, the poor darling.
It's like
She
I'm
is.
living a terrible Yelp review to this establishment.
At this point, you are just floating along with the ship. It is on its side. Just as this wave has moved past you, Nesca, I need you to give me a perception check.
17.
17. As you feel just the bruising of your ribs and you feel like just the impact all over your body as you're just sort of scrabbling your hands and fingers trying to make just get a grip on the ship as best you can, just holding on for dear life. The rain at this point has slackened. And the wind is not as furious or ferocious as it was before. And the waves are still tumultuous and they still are crashing against the side of the ship. But they are not as deadly as they were before. At this point, the ship has capsized and you are all sort of floating in the midst of this ship's destruction. As it is very clear, Nesca, what you said you rolled a
17.
17. You notice that the front portion of this ship, there's a massive crack going through the deck as this ship has been crunched by the wave. You see Rihanna desperately holding on to the door to the captain's cabin as it is completely disconnected from the door frame of the captain's cabin. She is on the door, just sort of holding onto a rope on the door. trying to make sure that she stays with y'all. Jal, you are where the helm was. Ivar, you had grabbed onto the tiller, and you were white-knuckling it for dear life. And as you open your eyes after the impact, you discover you are still holding on to the tiller. It is not connected to anything.
Shit.
You are holding on to it, and you are just floating amidst a mass of just like flotsam and just wood planks of that once were this yacht.
Ivor is going to need to find something floatable because he is wearing full armor.
This is why I
no.
said you can't go over. I
know.
can't lift you.
I know.
Give me a perception check.
17.
no.
17. On a 17, right now, you see that there are several casks that carried some of the spices that were below deck that are now above deck. You see there are several of them sort of floating like all together. At this point, Nesca, you also see just the faintest piercing of sunlight coming through the clouds above. Jal, you are right next to, at this point, right next to Yanshu. Just sort of, he's sort of caught in this this tangle of rigging. What do you all do?
Is he getting pulled down, or like are we floating?
No, the ship isn't full on sinking yet. It's just
Yeah, I heard that.
It's just riding it.
Okay. I mean, I'll just try to get to him and make sure that he stays afloat as best as I can, and then start looking for the next person.
Okay, you're able to do that with relative ease. You even with the waves still coming crashing onto the ship. Again, not as violently as they were before, but the ship is going down. You were able to get to Yanshu, and yes, thank you, Jal. Thank you for everything you did. You
Don't
saved-
mention it. Really, don't mention it. We're not out of this yet. Thank
Did
me
you see
when
what
we're all
happened?
on land.
Did you see what happened to Zophie, that pirate?
I wish I didn't.
He doesn't understand what you're saying, but in this moment, he doesn't seem.
Neither
to care
do I.
much. Ivar, you are able to finally you grab onto the sort of the collection of casks that are sort of just floating in the waves, and you notice that they're all sort of rigged together, they're roped together, so they're just sort of floating as a collection of like 6 large casks. At this point, you notice that it's probably the most stable, non-sinking thing in this entire ocean within, I don't know, hundreds of feet of you. Nesca, you see Rihanna sort of like struggling to stay up on top of the floating door. What do you do? No, don't push her off. Please don't push her off.
Jack, come back.
I will tell her to share because Jack deserved it.
There's plenty of room on that door. Oh my gosh. Can I see the collective barrels as well?
Can you do what?
Can I see the stack of barrels that were all together?
So you're able to see Ivar has like gotten a hold of the collection of barrels as it's sort of bobbing in the waves right now. You're able to see that he is what, at least for all intents and purposes, he seems to be a safe bet right now.
Okay. And how far is Rhiannon from me?
Rihanna is she's about 10 feet away from you. Ivar is just about 20.
Oh, I can do this. Math. I can. Okay. I will, because half my movement, is it rounded up?
For what?
So swim speed, your movement is essentially halved,
Yes.
but I have 55 feet. So do I get 25 or do I get 30 feet?
I'll just say 30.
Okay, beautiful. Perfect. I can do this then. I will swim to Rhiannon, swearing at Abyssal the whole time because this is not something that I would normally do. I'm going to grab her sort of around the shoulders and around the waist, and then I'm going to swim to Ivar, but I will be short, so I will use a key point to Step of the Wind, bonus action dash, and get us onto the thing.
Okay. You're able to do that. You're able to get Rihanna onto the floating casks. Ivar, you're sort of like holding there. You do feel like your armor is also taking on water.
I'll help hoist him up.
Okay. You're able to get on top with Rihanna. Jal, you have Yanshu. Both of you are just swimming towards these casks, and you're all able to sort of collectively get onto these casks. The casks, they sink just a little bit under all of your weight, but they're still floating. And you are, as you all sort of get on top, and you are, for the first time, it wasn't actually a long time since the storm began, but for the first time since that moment, this is the safest you've felt. As you all are, the casks begin to float and just begin to separate from all of the flotsam and jetsam of the remains of this ship. You do see the ship, its front end, ever so slightly raise into the air as it begins to sink slowly beneath the waves. Go ahead, Jal.
At any point in time, am I able to peek below the surface of the water and see if our neighbor is nearby?
Give me a
Our
perception.
friendly neighborhood kraken.
Who said it was a kraken?
That's a 7.
Oh my god.
Given that that there is more sunlight, and not as brilliant flashes of lightning, you aren't able to make out anything beneath the waves, except for just how inky and black the depths are. At this point, you are. There's going to be as you all begin to float. You also, because of where you are, just floating amidst the waves. Yeah, I'm assuming everyone has sort of lashed themselves to the casks to make sure that they stay
If
together.
there is rope available, yes.
I would have still had
there's
the rope around my
plenty.
waist.
Yes,
So yeah.
there is plenty of rope available. Everyone is able
would've-
to lash themselves to the casks, and the casks maintain their flotation. They're not going anywhere right now. As you all, because of where you are in the middle of the ocean, as the storm passes, time gets very hard to judge. Given how cloudy it is, not able to see the sun directly as it sort of comes in and out as the storm begins to pass. Eventually, the sea becomes calmer. And several of you notice that the ship is gone. Yanshu looks at you, Neska, and he says, Thank you once again for risking it all, and thank you to all of you." And he looks at every single one of you and he says, "Thank you for saving my life. I'm only sorry that I was not able to save. I'll be honest, I don't think I ever really got her name."
Ivar is going to respond. Sophie Wolfsbane. And it appears her judgment was given as only she could have earned it by the ocean.
Jal staring directly into the water, not looking up, says in the most serious tone you've ever heard him use, he just says, "That wasn't the ocean."
What do you mean?
There's something down there.
Ivar has a moment before he says, then perhaps her debt was repaid.
I'm gonna leave Yonju's side and sort of scoot over and sit next to Jarl. And then I'm gonna put my hand on top of his. Thank you for flying out there. You did not have to do that.
Yeah, I did. I absolutely did.
Why do you feel that?
Because it was a stupid thing to do.
Is that a theme with you?
Oh, you must have not ever talked to my commanding officers.
No.
Yeah, flying or jumping or running or what have you into certain death and somehow making it back. That seems to be a trait. This is the only time that I've come back and been really worried about it, though.
Worried about not coming back?
May have bitten off more than I could chew this time. As he's just staring into the ocean.
What is it that you saw?
If I had a word to describe it, I would.
So use many.
I guess that Kraken would be a term that I've heard. I don't... No story I've heard matched up with this.
As you say the word Kraken, you see Rihanna's eyes go wide. Just this look of intense fear. Kraken, that's just a story, right? That's not a real thing. It's just a myth. It's something we scare children with. Don't go too close to the ocean, or else the Kraken will get you.
Jal, without looking past the ocean, just kind of points at Yanshu and just goes, "So's he."
Yanshu's like, well, it is fair. Up until very recently, I would have to say I agree with you.
Jal just gives a
Yanshu-
slow nod and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, and other, if you will, we make it to tomorrow if that thing says we do."
Out of nowhere, you guys are going to hear the slow rise of Ivar's laughter as he just start hearing just a the heavens grow quiet and the voices of above are begone, so the elements and the beasts of the deep lay judgment upon us.
Jal actually looks up after you say that, as if he's thinking for a moment. He goes, "Judgment of the elements, you say?" And he kind of looks down at his ring and he thinks to himself, "I don't think I ever got your name, but You gave me this gift for doing you a kindness. And I could really use a kindness in return right now.
Kindness is a new concept to me.
That was a thought. He's
Oh,
talking to
I thought you
somebody
were
who-
talking out loud. Okay.
Oh, it's not okay. It's not out loud.
I thought that was,
Okay.
I thought
Not
that was
out loud.
external.
Stop mind
Okay.
reading, Nesca.
Get out of my head! Get out of my
There
head!
is-
Are you going to suggest him to share with the class, Nesca?
I mean, I can.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, boy.
Touchy.
We're having a good time.
At this point, you have that thought, and you're contemplating the ring, and the lightning and the sounds of thunder are becoming more distant. And there is almost a quiet that you're able to feel. And in this moment, there is no response. Ivar, I need you to give me another wisdom save.
Sure you do. 23, sir. Are you sure you didn't want those for the piloting of the ship?
I mean, that was up to you.
I would
Don't
like
you
to
dare.
pilot the ship with a wisdom
Don't you
saving
dare.
throw.
Just wanted to come in.
At this point, you feel the intense pressure of the other. And if it had come earlier during the thick of the storm, you might not have been able to hold on. But in this moment, you are grasping firmly at the straws that you have on a certain level of sanity that you possess. And you force it back down. And instead of the loud voice that you have become accustomed to in your mind, it's a whisper that you hear. You won't be able to get rid of us that easy, Ivar. And then nothing. At this point, Yanshu reaches over and takes your hand, Nesca. He says, Are you okay?
Of course. Are you?
Excellent. Thanks to your friends, I'm fine. I'll manage. What the next several days brings, I could not say.
Friends.
Well, I'm assuming at this point, you lot have been through a lot. I would assume, at least at this point, you would be willing to count them as something more than just happy acquaintances.
I'm the happy acquaintance, and he points at Ivar and goes, "That's the unhappy acquaintance."
It is. I'll turn to the both of you. It is not a word we use in our culture. The concept is unfamiliar,
Well,
but I like it.
we are very far from home.
Yes.
At this point, you all just still lashed to the floating barrels. You all begin to lose track of time. Some of you, Rihanna, begins to just exhausted, just falls asleep. Unless you guys want to put together a watch, take it in shifts.
Be a smart idea.
If I'm being honest, Jala's not sleeping.
Okay. You will not sleeping, you will take, given everything that you've gone through and not sleeping, you will take a point of exhaustion.
He is too concerned about, at a moment's notice, a very long eldritch tentacle could reach up and claim all of us.
Ivar, what are you doing?
I also don't know if I ever would sleep. If anything, he may doze off from time to time between contemplations.
Okay. We'll say you take a short rest then.
Sure.
Okay. I'll during depending on how long, I'll say you rest half the time. so then at that point I'll allow you to roll a certain number of hit dice to see how much you regain in terms of hit points.
All right.
As a very tiny thing, I would try to grab anything that could be akin to like a torch and use prestidigitation to light it so that people could try to dry a little bit, people could try to stay warm, and just, I know it's still raining a little bit, I would just keep using prestidigitation to try to keep it going.
Okay. You do that. Nesca, are you sleeping?
Yeah, I probably would if I feel confident enough that Ivar and Joel are gonna keep watch. Wring out as much seawater from my clothes as possible. You two not knowing what I am cold and shivering and just unconsciously, whatever skin or warmth that I'm detecting, I am right there. So like I'll be pressed up against one of you for warmth, and then the fire comes and I'm at the fire. Yeah. Oh, you're covered in armor, aren't you? Okay. Yeah. I am pressed against you.
So it's
trying
like
to soak up as much body warmth as I can.
You got Jal prestidigitating a torch right next to basically heat metaling Ivar's armor, and everybody's trying to keep toasty around Ivar in this moment. Yanshu just gently grabs your shoulder, Nesca, and says, you rest. I will take first watch. And he gives you the option to sleep.
I will accept, but did he take any damage? Like, does he look worse? Because I've obviously got bruised ribs now. He was thrown around quite a bit.
Everybody here looks like a drowned rat.
Amazing.
Nobody looks their best in this moment.
Okay, that's right. I have key points. That's fine. I will use my key points and heal everyone up before falling asleep.
Okay.
So wait.
As we'll say, Jal, give me a perception check.
Is this before or after I take the point of exhaustion?
This will be before.
That's a 15.
Okay. As the floating becomes less intense and the sea becomes calmer, you begin to feel just sort of the hypnotic effect of the ocean as it sort of lifts you up and cascades down, and you see your companions around you. And you are very much aware in this moment of just how exhausted you are. And you feel just the gentle caress of the wind and the waves. And you slowly, just sort of like nodding off, just like every now and then, suddenly just jerking awake. You feel Yanshu's hand saying, Jal, if you need, I'm here. I'm awake. I can do this. He says very weakly at this point. And you see Nesca, even though they're asleep, is just sort of shivering, trying to like stay warm Rihanna is also shivering in this moment. That is pretty much how you spend the better part of the rest of the night and into the next day. As the day dawns, I need everyone to... Would it be a Constitution saving throw to see if you guys stay awake or no?
Probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
potentially either that or like somebody just focusing on not sleeping. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have everyone give me a Constitution saving throw. Just to see, given that you're taking points of exhaustion staying awake.
Damn.
21.
Hang on. That was
21.
Ooh,
Given that, go ahead, Joel.
17.
17. Okay.
16.
16. All right. Yanshu falls asleep. And Rihanna does not. He rolled an 18.
Yanshu told me he was good, that I could take a rest if I wanted to, and then he falls asleep like a
The
baby.
day morning dawns and the day begins to progress. The seas making their normal movement and sound as you begin to feel just cast about by the ocean. Ivar, I need you to give me a perception check.
19.
Okay. Not sure whether it is just the fact that you've been sitting in the middle of the ocean and you feel just the immense weight of your of the plate armor that you have on, and you feel just how you're just soaked to the skin and it is bone cold out, even though the heat from the torch is a welcome adjustment to the environment around you. Everyone is sort of huddled together in the center of this cask island that you guys have made for yourself. And as everyone just sort of is just huddled together for warmth, not really looking around at their surroundings, Ivar, you cast your eyes far afield. And off in the distance, you see, cresting up above the waves, far, far off in the distance, a shape coming up out of the water. And then it disappears. And then it rises again. And it's coming, you realize it's coming closer to you. It's coming, it is definitely making its way. And you for a brief second, you feel like you can make out the shape of what could be a crow's nest. And you see at the top of this, what could be a crow's nest, just this brief flash of light. And you see it disappear back beneath the waves, or at least back into the trough of the wave as it begins to make its way towards you. And then you realize, at first, what you thought was perhaps a ship is actually something much, much, much larger. And as it gets closer, you see what appears to be something you've only ever heard of, never seen with your own eyes. But you have heard of it. The fabled, storied city ships of the dwarven fleets.
That is
Ooh.
goodness,
Gorgeous.
so cool. It's so cool. I love that so much.
So these images are basically, try to put them together, and this is what you would see.
Wow.
Cresting the waves, like almost 1,000 feet away from you. Suddenly, the full awesome size of this ship is made apparent. And it is approaching you under its own power. And yes, using the waves and the wind to its advantage, but it is moving fast towards you. And you are suddenly made fully aware of why the crafting of the dwarves is so legendary, as they have literally taken their mountain hordes and their mountain halls onto the high seas. And in this moment, you are all Ivar, you are seeing, you are fully aware of the ship. Do you speak Dwarvish?
That is a good question.
What languages do the people in this group speak?
Jal speaks Dwarvish.
Jal speaks Dwarvish.
I speak Quarry and Undercommon.
Okay.
We didn't hear any of that, Nesca.
You apparently don't speak Common.
Nesca speaks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes. Yeah.
Ivar, are you making everyone aware of the fact that there's a massive ship coming your way?
I probably, after I notice this thing and I start realizing the size of it and I have a sense of what it is, he probably would call out to the group as it says, "It appears destiny is not done with surprises yet." And he just weakly sort of points in the direction of the ship. I'm also going to, I don't know if it's going to be useful or not, because I don't know if we've been spotted, but Ivar's going to reach for one of his daggers, and he's going to use the sunlight to try to reflect, because he felt like he saw something of like a reflection above the crow's nest.
Jal's torch is still lit.
Okay, cool. But I don't know if it's daytime, nighttime, whatever, but it's still, he would just...
Well, even still, Jal would hand the torch to you and then start casting prestidigitation to cast sparks directly into the air, like shooting up flares. And he's just gonna be like, wave that around. Like, actually, I'm gonna hand it to Nezga. You do the reflecting light with the dagger. All the light sources, because if there's any chance that they're gonna miss us, I don't want it to happen.
Jal, as Ivar relays this information, you also see the ship, and as it gets closer, you see in very large dwarven script on the side of it the name Bern Koldur. BERNKULODIR. You remember, actually, just quickly give me a history check. See what you remember.
Where is my character sheet? There it is. History. Not much. An 8.
An 8. You remember vaguely from your time as a lad studying maps that this ship's name could be a reference to an old dwarven city. Not sure where, but you know that it was once the name of a dwarven city.
Okay.
At this point, the ship has moved alongside you all. And about 60 feet up in the air, you see, well, down at your level, there is actually like a set of stairs that actually ascend up the side of the ship. But at the very top of the stairs, you see the kindly face of a very rotund mountain dwarf looking over the side of the ship with an extremely long, straight, blonde beard that goes all the way down his ample stomach, with piercing gray eyes and rugged, sea-worn gray skin. He has an oblong and handsome face with a gigantic mustache. And in sort of broken common, he looks down at you, and you hear him say, Gods be good. Oh, what do we have here? A bunch of drowned rats. Hey, you lot, get a look over here. And suddenly you see a bunch of dwarven heads just pop over the side. It's like, and you see some dwarven children also just sort of popping and just looking at you all. It's like, oh, Father, can we keep him? Can we keep him? No, we can't. No, we don't do that sort of thing. Could we offer you any assistance?
Replying in Dwarvish,
Good.
John would just be like, yeah, I think that we could use some of that.
They hear you speak Dwarvish back to them. Seeing you are human or presenting human, hearing you speak Dwarvish, you see a look of surprise, pleasant surprise, at hearing their own language. And they say back in Dwarvish, all right, well, the stairs are right there, lad. Why don't you just use them? Do you guys require any sustenance of any kind?
Absolutely. We didn't get this far literally on floating crates. We all almost died yesterday. And just start back to common, look at Rihanna, just go, we're going aboard. Come on. It's we're welcome. They're gonna help us. I hope. I mean, yes, they're gonna help us.
Did you want to bring the crates with you at all, or are you just gonna leave them to the seas?
If you want them.
Oh,
They're
no.
probably
No,
waterlogged.
We're good. We're good. We're totally fine. We don't need any of your... And he just sort of trails off. He did not want to be insulting to you. You all begin to ascend the steps up. And as you come up to the very top of this 60-foot railing on the side of this massive city ship, you see this... at closer inspection, a dwarf who looks to be about 140 years old. And he extends his hand, and you see he has an iron gauntlet on his hand. He looks to be a very solid dwarven fighter who is clad in leather armor, and he has his long mustache, or long beard with a very elegant, gigantic mustache. And he extends his hand to you, Jal, and he says, Welcome to New Barn Caldur. Very happy to have you, and I hope you will accept our hospitality, and I hope that we are able to assist you in anything that anything that you might need.
Jal will happily take his hand, do the forearm grasp, and just, that would be incredibly appreciated. And he's gonna kind of look back and just go, we're refugees from Ashcaleen.
Refugees from Ashcaleen? What brought you all the way out here then?
We were trying to get to Siristeer.
Ah, Siristeer. Well, we were actually headed back the way you came. We are carrying a lot of fine wines and minerals that we were preparing to sell at the markets in Ashcaleen, but I
don't think you're going to get any buyers.
Ivar, literally, as he's taking off his armor with a contained urge because of the weight of it and the suffocation he's been keeping this whole time, he just, Ashcaleen is gone. And
As you take off the armor, fish just start to pour out of it.
don't tell me I never went hunting for you guys. See, I'm a provider.
You were also the pot that we boiled the fish in.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Ivor, it's called the Ivor stew.
Ivar stew, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's taking, he took his like shield down, his sword. He's taking the plate armor, at least the top side, as he just, Ashcaleen is gone.
What do you mean
Judgment.
gone?
The flames claimed the city. As so did vampires and dark magic.
Well, we'll have to bring you before our ruler. My name is Zagain Hammerhall, and I'm very happy to meet you. And I hope we'll get to the bottom of this. I will now take you to our queen, who I hope will be not too saddened by your tidings. I do hope that we are able to provide, and at this point he snaps his fingers, and he suddenly several other dwarves all crowd around you and start to remove the wet clothes from your bodies and like clad you in like these very thick giant, not entirely sure what animal, but they're very large and they're very thick pelts, and they're very warm. At this point, everybody is just sort of like huddled together with these things on. And as you begin to look at your surroundings, the best way to describe it is as you have pulled yourself out of the ocean and onto this ship, where you are could best be described as the dock of a normal city. Only this dock moves with the city on the ocean. And as you begin to look ahead down what you only know to be alleyways on this massive city that extends hundreds of feet into the sky, and you see this main thoroughfare with dwarves of all colors and different beard sizes, and all sorts of children just milling about and running around as the daily commerce of the city is laid bare in front of you. And many of the dwarven women and craftsmen are all busy in this moment, as you see that extending before you is the marketplace.
Oh, good. Shopping.
Nothing
Just
like
what
a
I
shopping
needed.
opportunity too.
Episode.
Just
New
beyond
shoes,
that
please.
is a massive street where what appears to be these wooden and steel cars. By that I don't mean like propelled cars. I mean like cars that are on like a track that move.
Like a mine cart.
Trying to think. It's not a train, but it's not
Tram, like a tram.
a tram. Thank you.
Tram.
These
Okay.
wooden and steel trams that move the length of this ship. And you see as they go towards the rear of the ship is at the very rear a massive, what appears to be a massive stone, steel, and wooden palace that extends up into the sky. And at that point, Zagain Hammermail says, "We'll take you to some lodging first, but I expect you'll want to get warm and feed yourselves. But soon I will take you to our queen, Queen Fari Flintmace. And with that, we will call it a night."
Just as a point, as soon as the dwarves have come out, I've donned my mask.
Got it.
Just as
Okay.
a point, Jal jumps back into the ocean and drowns so that I can play one of these dwarves.
Just as a point, I drown with Jal so I can be the king of the queen, twice removed.
Smash.
Oh,
Cousin.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We made it! Yay!
And I
We
helped.
should. Yeah.
So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you when we see you.